The Super Speedway Podcast is a Dream Bigger media production. For news, photos, show notes, and information about advertising on the podcast, visit www.thesuperspeedway.com.
3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the Super Speedway.
Here they come. They've completed lap number 5. You got Lexi in the lead. Louie tried to track her down. Here's Louie to the inside. He'll back away. Oh, Millie gets in the way. They make contact. Here again, Lexi leading out of turn number 3. Here comes Louie trying to shut it down. Checker flag in the air. Lexi will win by 5 dog lengths.
Welcome to episode 145 of the Super Speedway Podcast, recorded Wednesday, March 18th, 2020. I'm your host, Eric Young. I am joined, as always, by my co-host, James Cush. James, you know it's bad when Mike Bagley is calling dogs racing around his swimming pool.
We've got video games and dogs running around a swimming pool. What else have I seen? Oh, I got wrapped up in a marble race. Not what was it? Marbula 1 or whatever that was. Remember we did that in the podcast a few weeks ago? No, somebody had this like track and it was 5 minutes long and it was just a straight like it was fantastic.
It wasn't the one on the beach, was it?
That might have been it. Yeah.
Okay, so it was in the sand or whatever.
Yeah, I saw that. So
I got sucked into that too.
We're trying to get our fix any way we can, man.
Yeah.
It's bad out there.
It's only been a week.
Eric, when we were recording the podcast, I feel like last week, that's when everything hit the fan.
Yeah, well, let's just put it the way it is. All hell broke loose during the podcast last week. We didn't even know, like we were joking about it at the time, but we didn't know what to expect.
It seems like a year ago.
It does. It's like, you watch those apocalyptic movies, you see like The Walking Dead and all that stuff, and like everything goes crazy in like a really short period of time. Obviously in the movie it's really short, but it's usually only like a couple days and everything's just goes to hell. And man, it's like we're living it, I tell you.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but I'm working from home right now. I work for a newspaper, so we've been covering this. And like, I live coronavirus 24/7. I can't imagine how the medical professionals are doing it, but I'm living this. I'm consuming this content all day long and reporting this content and putting it into the newspaper. And like, it doesn't even feel like the real world exists anymore. Like I just went out Sunday and it was like, it felt wrong. Like I'll tell you.
Yeah. We had our daughter in daycare until Monday, and I was driving her in, and I was like, "Holy cow!" And then I went to the weird thing is I work on the busiest road in Saginaw, Michigan,
right?
And I pull out on that sucker every week, every day, and I went straight to daycare with no stops, and that has never happened before. And I thought, "Holy cow, this is weird."
I know.
I think the moment I was just gonna say,
the
moment for me when everything was really crazy. So I'll always remember us recording that podcast. I won't forget it. I mean, probably the rest of my life. But then the next day when I went to the store to get a light bulb, and that was Toilet Paper Thursday, and everything was off the shelves at the grocery store. It was out of control.
Yeah, it
was insane.
So we live on a pretty busy street here too, which is kind of, it's not comparable to the road that you work on, but it's close. There's a lot of traffic on this road. And I took the dog out this morning and it's like, wow, it was 9:00 in the morning. And usually that road, till about 10 o'clock is ridiculous. And it was empty. There were a few cars going by and that was pretty shocking.
Well, it means hopefully people are doing what they're supposed to be doing and staying inside.
Right, exactly.
I think that's a good sign if things are busy. I know, man. Monday was pretty much the last day I was in the office for a while. I know that. I mean, we're working from home too.
Yeah.
I know you and I are fortunate. I think, we're able to keep working, but I know it's going to be a struggle for tons of folks.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So.
I've been cooped up in here. We went up to our old house on Sunday to do some more packing and getting it ready because we're in the process of selling it, which, great time to try and sell a home. Fortunately, we have
get that thing done.
Right. We have a buyer, but I'm just waiting for us. We got to finish cleaning it out. I'm just waiting for them to shelter us at home and not be able to go there.
Yeah.
But anyway, I came home Sunday night, and that's been the last I've ventured out of our apartment complex. So
Holy cow.
yeah,
Yeah.
I may go to the store tonight when we're done with the podcast, depending on if the store's still open. I don't even know what the hours are right now. And but is that sirens at your place or my place?
Not my place.
Oh, gotta love it. Anyway, so
Twitter.
it'll be really weird to go out.
It's weird, the weirdest thing is driving by, especially so in Saginaw, I'm in, like I mentioned, the busiest road, but it's also like, fast food
Right.
heaven. Anything and everything you want. There's a Target, there's, fast food everywhere. And to see all of those places completely empty at, usually prime time,
Right.
it's so weird. I was just like, wow, this really is. And I stood I was getting into my truck, and I just thought, man, I miss normal. I took normal for granted. And I will never.
You sit here and you think, like, we've got so comfortable. I mean, even when bad things happen, even when like 9/11 happened, I mean, that's the last time I felt like this was 9/11. But I felt like it would get back to normal pretty quickly. Like there seemed like a timeline as to when we could expect things to get normal again. And like right now we don't have that. And it's just, but that was so long ago. You get so comfortable. Things are so good now. Even when they're bad, they're good.
Yeah, it's not getting any better right now.
And it's really strange because like 9/11, it was a big deal, but it was focused on New York and Washington D.C. So in the U.S., if you weren't in those areas, you could get away from it a little bit. And if you were outside of this country, you could probably get away from it pretty easily. But like this, you can't get away from. Everybody's dealing. You go online, that's all everybody's dealing with is this.
Yeah. It's been it's been something to be a part of. I told Erin, my wife, I was like, we graduated school, our generation, we graduated school and walked into a recession, and now we're within 10 years we're within another gonna have another one. It's been so crazy. Things have been so good for the last few years. Outside, I think when President Trump got elected, I remember having anxiety about that because so many people were angry. It's just at that time it was shocking and people were so mad.
Yep.
And I remember thinking, man, people are really upset about this. And I remember feeling that anxiety for like a day.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's every day. I think that's the last time I've actually felt like nationwide anxiety.
Right.
Like interrupting my daily life.
And the worst thing is there's two schools of thought on this. There's the school of thought that this is nothing and we're blowing it out of proportion. And then there's the school of thought that it's doomsday and this is the worst thing ever in the world. And so like you read things and you try and get information and there's this back and forth that you go and it's like, geez, I just wish I knew which was the right one. Like how concerned I should be. I'm doing everything I can do to do what, the governor's telling us to do and to do what the medical professionals are telling us to do. I'd rather be safe than sorry, but it'd be nice to know that it wasn't that necessary, but from what we can tell, it is that there's no end in sight right now. And that's what's scary about it is there's no light at the end of the tunnel. We don't know when that light's going to come.
Yeah.
And that's the frightening part. So we're going to have some fun here a little bit. We're going to joke around. Just know that as you're listening to this, we take this very seriously. We're not trying to poke fun at anybody or anything, but we want to still have some entertainment and give you guys something to listen to during the week. We're going to hopefully keep doing this throughout however long this delay is and have some fun and give you something.
Yeah.
So,
we were talking before the podcast and just full disclosure for everybody, I think we're all grasping for normal somewhere.
Right.
A little bit here and there. And
so much that we're calling a race of dogs around a swimming pool.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, you and I doing this podcast is just a little bit of normal, not just for people who listen to the show. Hopefully you guys enjoy it, but it's normal for us to just get together on Wednesday and have a chat. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm all in, man. Let's keep it rolling. Hopefully, hopefully we'll see things getting a little bit better for everybody.
Right. So let's just run through this whole thing. So last week we recorded the podcast on Wednesday night. While we were recording, The NBA suspended its season. They had a couple players that were diagnosed with the coronavirus. The next day, I believe it was, the NHL followed and suspended their season. Major League Baseball announced it was putting spring training on hold. And then last Thursday, NASCAR made the announcement that they were going to run the races at Atlanta and Homestead without fans. So we're like, okay, we'll still get some racing this week. It's going to be really weird. Obviously, big loss for NASCAR and Homestead with Dale Jr. running in the Xfinity Series. Now they're not going to have any fans at it. So I don't know about you, James, but at that point, I thought that we probably wouldn't see any racing over the weekend.
Yeah, I did too. Yeah, I did too.
But NASCAR was trying. So then Friday, during the day, word started circulating that they were going to run the truck race Friday night, and the Xfinity and Cup races would run Saturday. So I'm like, all right, cool. We get to watch some racing. I'm getting ready, making sure I got stuff set so I can watch the truck race that night. And then Friday afternoon, we got the announcement from NASCAR that they'd postponed Atlanta and Homestead. We had media members that were in the airport or at the track that had just gotten there. We had teams that were unloading, ready to go, and they packed back up and headed on out. And then on Monday, NASCAR announced that it was going to postpone all of its races until Martinsville on May 3rd. So we are in a holding pattern through the month of April. And hopefully, in theory, getting back going on May 3rd. So some of the things we've heard from NASCAR so far, obviously there's a lot of stuff up in the air. NASCAR officials say they plan to run the full 36-race season, and they're going to do what they can to make that happen. So we could be seeing midweek races. We could see double headers in order to help them finish the season sooner and get it finished kind of where they are supposed to finish it. They could come back to racing without fans, as they had planned to do for the two races, just in order to get it done, get started sooner if there's still mandates in place as to how many people can gather, blah, blah, blah. And they also plan to or hope to keep the playoffs intact and end the season at Phoenix. So have the same 10 races in the playoffs, finish the season with the championship race at Phoenix. Obviously, again, everything's up in the air. They'll do what they have to do to get the season in and get it done. I think that there's probably slim to no chance that Michigan isn't a doubleheader this year, because Michigan's one of those tracks that falls into it doesn't matter because neither race is a playoff race, so we can run a doubleheader there. So, and they're already talking about it. Yep. They've talked about it before. So I think Michigan will be a doubleheader among other things. Obviously, we don't know most of it, so it'll be interesting to see how that all falls. I think we're going to see a very abbreviated season. It sounds like they were taught. I can't remember if it was suggestions or if it was actual people in the know that were saying they could, shorten races up to where we don't qualify. We run very little practice and just go race. All kinds of things on the table to make this happen. So, but we don't know, because right now we're going back racing in Martinsville, but we don't know that that's going to happen. So, last week we thought we were racing last weekend. So I wanted to ask the question, James, obviously it's really hard, especially when we're in the midst of this, to critique anybody right now. But what do we think? How did NASCAR handle this? Did they do all right trying to get it in, or should they have just pulled the plug sooner and said it's a loss? Let's regather in a week or two.
They probably should have called it when the NBA announced when the NBA started shutting down. I feel like that was the nail in the coffin that these leagues were all going to have to start halting.
I think when everybody was shut down except NASCAR.
Yeah, and
NASCAR was still saying we're running without UFC. A crowd.
Yeah, it was NASCAR, UFC, and I think wrestling.
Yeah, WWE continued.
Golf was still going.
Yep.
They ended up canceling the after one round. So, yeah, NASCAR was pretty much one of the only ones left standing. You kind of had a little bit of egg on your face at that point.
Yeah.
When you're the only one out there, and there's a lot of people at NASCAR race if there's no fans there. It's just the way it is.
Right. That's the thing is
like 10 guys on a basketball court with a couple of refs and some coaches,
Right. They said they were going to only allow essential people, but where does the essential line end? I mean, you've got media members, you've got, the caterers, there's a lot of people.
Yeah.
I think I saw somewhere like 1,400 people that you could expect to be at the track just with NASCAR and the teams.
And we haven't had any noted COVID-19 people from NASCAR yet either.
Not
have we?
not that we're aware of. For
We're
a
aware
while
of,
it was
exactly.
just
We
the
don't
yeah. For a
forecast.
while it was just the NBA, and then NHL announced today that there's a couple players.
Yep. NHL got hit. And yeah, basketball's in a weird spot too because some of their biggest stars have gotten hit in the last couple of days, and now I saw the Lakers are all being tested, which that includes LeBron James, the biggest of NBA's stars,
Right.
because they were playing against the Nets, who Kevin Durant, another really big NBA star, is not playing right now, but he's got it. So yeah, it trickled into the NBA pretty hot and heavy here the last few days.
Yeah.
So you can see that they made the right decision.
And
I've
that's
seen
the thing. Like this cycle is going to go, and like
Yeah.
when does it end?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's if it can get to people like that, it can get to anybody.
But I mean, I think NASCAR put people at risk by having everybody travel the track and unload.
They did.
And, there's a lot of people that, I mean, we know a NASCAR employee that flies to the track. He was not scheduled to work that weekend, so he wasn't part of it. But, the NASCAR uses commercial airlines for most of their staff.
Yeah.
So all those staff members that were going to the track, of course, it's Atlanta, and a lot of them are based in Charlotte, so you would assume a lot of them were driving. But still, it's like, you're putting all those people at risk to get them to the track to run a race that everybody and their brother already knew it wasn't going to happen. I don't know. It just, and then you're not only talking about that, now you're putting the networks at risk too. It's just, I mean, the networks aren't even filming, studio shows. They're not even doing the Tonight Show right now, and they want.
No, you got it. Yeah, everybody's
just
staying away.
Yeah,
that's for the best. But
so I mean,
Eric,
I give NASCAR credit for having the big eyes and going. The ratings are going to be killer this weekend.
Yeah, I know.
That's what it was. It was all ratings.
Yeah, I think NASCAR Twitter did the overworked Twitter of the week with this is the 79 Daytona 500 all over again. I'm like, settle down here because I don't think we're racing.
Yep.
But I was gonna say though, if we can take one positive from this whole thing, this is a chance. I've been thinking like this is a chance for our society to hit the reset button, but on a smaller scale. With some of the things NASCAR's gonna have to do to pull this season off, this is a definite reset button and a look to what we can do in the future. With scheduling and moving races around, midweek races, short schedules, I am excited to get back to the track when hopefully that happens. And when it does, I'm excited to see what it looks like.
Well, NASCAR now has carte blanche this season, as they still have not announced their schedule, that for 2021, they have carte blanche to just try stuff.
Yeah, you got a get out of jail free card as long as your sponsors are happy.
Yeah,
you can do whatever you want.
If it falls flat on its face, well, sorry, coronavirus, we couldn't do anything else. We had to do it.
Yep. And if it's success, yeah, look at what we did.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Yep. Now we know it works. So, I think honestly, you're going to see a lot of midweek races out of this. I think because they want to see how it works.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of other tracks that could throw double headers at. Michigan's an easy one. Pocono obviously already had it.
It's tough because a lot of them are in the playoffs now if they've got 2 races.
Yeah, I know. You got to be careful. You couldn't do Texas. You couldn't do like the All-Star weekend. That can be condensed.
Yeah.
At Charlotte. So there's a chance to save some time. Daytona is a regular season race. It's the finale. We've already done that, so there's no doing anything different there.
Yeah.
Talladega's got a playoff race. So yeah, we're looking at maybe Michigan and Pocono double headers, and then who knows what we're going to do for some of these races.
Yep,
it's gonna be interesting.
Definitely.
Maybe you bunch up some of the. I was thinking maybe another idea was you bunch up some of the short tracks. If you're going to be moving things around, maybe you run Bristol right after Martinsville, and you just run Bristol midweek under the lights. Maybe your backup. You run your backup short track car or something. Right. I don't know.
Well, and you could also see maybe instead of double headers for a Cup weekend, two Cup races. Maybe we see a Cup Xfinity race on the same day, or all 3 series run the same day.
Yep.
So
it's gonna be busy.
Yep, it is. It is. So
hopefully it's busy.
Yeah,
that's the thing. Like, yeah, it's gonna be busy. And it's gonna be a pain in the but hopefully it is, because if it's not, we're not. That means we're not racing. So.
Well, and I saw a lot of people like I follow the Ontario Hockey League. It's a junior hockey league. You get kids that are allowed to play basically from 16 to 21 is essentially the ages that play. And once you hit 21, you're an overager. You can't play after that. And, the team that I follow, the team that I shoot photos for, the Saginaw Spirit, are in a place to potentially win the championship this year and could have their season cut short. The regular season has been cut short as of today. They're still planning on doing the playoffs, but those could go away too, and they could lose that chance. These kids could lose their chance at playing, their final season in the playoffs. You got high school kids that are seniors that were heading into the postseason for basketball that may not get to play or won't get to play now. And you got
spring sports.
Yeah, spring sports that could be in the same situation. And I saw a lot of people, wanting to feel sorry for themselves on it. But the thing is again, this is one of those things. It's not just you that it affects. This is affecting everybody. We are all dealing with the same thing. And it's okay to say this sucks, but it's not like anybody's getting good out of this deal.
Yeah.
Nobody's like, yes, this is working out for me. Unless you're iRacing, maybe they might be a little excited about it. But
esports are doing okay.
Yeah. Since we made that transition, let's talk about that. We did get a race this week, James. Some of the Cup drivers were on the track this weekend on Sunday. I know you were really excited about it.
Yeah.
So I wanted to give it a shot because I was excited about it. Because if I can't watch regular racing, at least I got to see some racing. And if I didn't want to watch, I didn't have to watch it. So last Sunday we had the Replacements 100. It was an iRacing race at Atlanta Motor Speedway, and it featured several Cup drivers and other drivers from the NASCAR industry. Guys like William Byron, who you could expect would be there. Alex Bowman raced. Dale Earnhardt Jr. came out of retirement to run the race. He hasn't retired from iRacing. He's still racing iRacing.
He's gonna. I know you have it in the notes.
Yeah.
But he's gonna be retiring from iRacing here pretty soon.
Right, and then exactly. No kidding.
We'll get to it.
We had Chad Knaus raced. We had Parker Kligerman, who owns an iRacing team. He was racing. So we had a lot of decent names in the Cup Series. Noah Gragson raced. I don't know. There were a lot of guys that maybe even didn't get mentioned in the race that were in the race.
Bowman said he was terrible. I saw that.
He was pretty bad.
Yeah.
So anyway, we got to see some drivers race. Josh Williams, who is Ryan Blaney's spotter, can't write in my show notes, was able to hold off William Byron and actually pull away from him at the end. William Byron, basically the king of iRacing. I mean, that's how this kid got his ride in the Cup Series, is by being good in iRacing. Josh Williams gets the win. William Byron comes home second place. 100 laps at Atlanta Motor Speedway. James, I know you said you gave it a shot and you didn't get a chance to get all the way through it. I thought for what it was that it was pretty great. And I would love to see like NBC or Fox get, Mike
I think
Joy.
Fox is planning on doing some broadcasting. I don't know who's the announcing team, but I think
I would love to see him get the actual Cup announcers to call a couple of these races.
Jeff Gordon would do it.
Yeah,
maybe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty cool. It's not the real thing, no, by any means. And you referenced before we started recording the podcast, there were a lot of wrecks in the beginning. It took forever to get through the first 30 laps of this race. It was just crash after crash after crash. They did hit a point at the end where they had a nice long green flag run when all the guys who couldn't muster it were knocked out. So one of the things that I found out later in the race, which if you didn't watch the whole thing, you didn't catch, was that all the drivers were given a free repair. So you could crash once and completely repair your car. And so that's why a couple of these guys were in multiple
That's why
wrecks.
Dale Jr. got back into the
Exactly.
Into the mix.
Yep.
I gotcha.
Yeah. And I don't know if that's going to be the case. So we got the announcement yesterday. NASCAR had its Coca-Cola NASCAR iRacing Series broadcast, which I tuned in for live for the first time ever. And I watched like 15 laps and then I had enough. But prior to the start of the race, Ben Kennedy was on and announced that they are running let's see, let me make sure I get it right. It is the eNASCAR iRacing Pro Invitational Series, a multi-week series. It's going to kick off this Sunday, March 22nd, 1:30 p.m., including several competitors from the Cup Series, Xfinity Series, Truck Series, ARCA, other NASCAR dignitaries. Confirmed competitors include Dale Earnhardt Jr., Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, Clint Bowyer. Clint Boyer's just going to wreck everybody. Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell. I know William Byron is running it because he shared an image of his car. Yeah, so we're going to get some racing again and do this one more time. I don't know if the rules are going to be the same where they get a free repair on this or not. But what do you think, James? I mean, I know you're not a big fan of this, but At least it's something, right?
I mean, we're in uncharted territories. I'm all for let's just have fun. I don't
Yeah.
know. I mean, if this gets 20,000 viewers, 30,000 people are entertained by this, by all means, man, let's do it. I know, esports are popular.
Yep.
That's what the people keep telling me anyway. It's a popular thing. But all these sports leagues, I know all these NBA teams, they own.
Yeah.
They have their own 2K league, and
Well,
they
that's
all
these
own
cup teams. Joe Gibbs Racing.
Yeah,
like I
Austin
said, Parker
Dillon, he owns a
Kligerman.
team.
These guys own iRacing teams.
Yeah, Denny Hamlin's got his own team with support from Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, it's a thing. It's a thing, and if you're into it, by all means, enjoy it. It might not be my cup of tea, but honestly, Eric, what am I gonna watch?
Right.
And if I tune in for 15, 20 laps, and maybe I do get sucked in at some point. I don't know, but that's we're just. People are hunkered down trying to have fun, and you can only watch so much freaking Netflix. You gotta branch out and watch something.
Well, NASCAR is doing a good job of posting some old NASCAR races on YouTube as well to watch.
Yeah.
But you know the outcome. You know what happened, and I've talked about iRacing stuff before on this podcast, and I'll tell you what, the broadcast is pretty good. They've got really good announcers. The video is pretty decent. If you ever played the game, if you ever played NASCAR 2003 back in the day, you can see how they're cutting the video to make it work by jumping from car to car and stuff like that. And people like me are the only ones who are going to care about that and notice that, stuff. But I mean, otherwise it looks like you're watching an actual NASCAR race, other than when they crash, they go flying and weird things happen. But when they're not wrecking, it looks like the real thing. And it's pretty close to the real thing. I mean,
it's come a long way, man.
Some of the drivers will tell you that they get a lot out of it, and it's really similar. And other drivers will tell you it is not even close and completely not beneficial to them whatsoever.
Yeah.
And I guess
Kyle Larson was tweeting that he's going to be bad when he runs. But I wonder though too, Kyle Larson, maybe some drivers feel it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What is the old? I think it was Kevin Harvick. You feel it in your ass.
Yep.
Is that kind of what he says?
Yeah.
But maybe that's just a different feel. For how a driver drives. Maybe somebody like William Byron can, maybe it's more of a muscle memory thing for him or something.
Well, you think about someone like Kyle Larson, when you drive sprint cars and stuff like that, a lot of it's feel.
Yeah.
So it's not surprising that you can't get that same feeling out of this, but.
I used to play video games. I mean, we used to get together. This is the original Xbox. Now this is, a few generations ago. But we used to do the LAN connections and LAN parties, and we'd play Halo and whatever was floating our boat at that time.
You were a bigger nerd than me?
Oh, I was a huge nerd. Yeah.
I only went to one LAN party.
At one time, Eric, we had over 16 people in my parents' basement, all hooked up.
Oh, so not only were you going to LAN parties, you were hosting them.
I was hosting. Oh no, I hosted it.
Oh man, you were a nerd.
Oh yeah, it was bad. We were always in between 8 and 12.
Wow.
People. But we used to play all the time. And
see, when we had LAN parties, I quit going because all it was we did computers, not game consoles, and the whole thing was 3 hours of trying to get them to work.
Oh yeah.
And then it was over.
Yeah. No, that was the thing with the Xbox, is you could plug those bad boys up and get a router and you were good to go, man. You would just be on. It was fantastic. But
nice.
What was funny is it was always, even with our group of friends, as much as we played, nobody ever got any better because it was the same couple of guys that were they were awesome at it. And I was always like, I would consistently finish either second or third, and it was I was never that number one guy, but I couldn't do the things that my other buddies could do who were better than me.
Yeah.
And I wonder if it's that way for iRacing. You just have a better feel for the game, and and it doesn't matter. It would be if it was Halo or like Gears of War or whatever we were playing at the time. It was always the same guys. They had a knack for this thing, and it's a skill. It's like kind of like playing poker or the games that are. You don't think it takes a whole lot of skill, but it's definitely skill based.
Definitely. We have some breaking news, James.
Uh-oh.
According to Adam Stern 1 minute ago, Fox Sports 1 expected to air the first race of iRacing's new NASCAR
There it is. Yeah, I
Invitational
had
Series.
seen. Yep.
Yep.
I saw they were going on Fox. I didn't know who was going to announce it.
Yep. Barring any late issues, per people familiar with the matter. So no announcement, no official announcement yet, but Adam Stern's got it, so it must be true.
Oh yeah, he's the man.
He is.
Yep.
He is.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, again, this is something to watch. It's something. It's better than Mike Bagley watching his dogs run around the pool. It's.
I don't know about that. That was pretty fun.
It was pretty funny.
I could listen to Mike Bagley call old women pushing shopping carts.
He is just okay. So between Mike Bagley and Dave Moody, it's just like music. I'm telling you.
That's the coronavirus content we need now.
Exactly.
If Bagley and Moody calling random stuff.
Well, and so we don't have a real agenda here tonight because obviously we can talk about whatever because there's
we're
no
just
racing.
going. Yeah.
So this is something I noticed the other day. So I noticed it during the Vegas. Was it during the Vegas race? Or maybe I was listening to an old race. Maybe I was listening to old Atlanta. But okay, so nothing against any of these guys, any of the broadcasters, period. TV, we gave Darrell Waltrip a lot of crap last year. We've picked on Rick Allen. The guys that do the radio broadcast.
You have something against Rick Allen.
Anyway, they all do amazing work because if anybody's ever tried to do anything like that, it's super difficult to do. But the difference between PRN radio and MRN radio, it doesn't matter who the people are. There's just something different about MRN radio. It's just so good. And maybe it's because all I ever heard was MRN radio at the track. And when you've gone to the track and heard it over the speakers, you get that feeling like you're there when you listen to it on the radio. But man, MRN's so good. They're just so good.
Yeah, they've got a higher production quality to their broadcast. And they've been doing it forever.
Yeah, I mean, they're completely unprofessional, though, if you ever listen to them when they're not recording.
Right. Yeah.
If you go to the track and listen to them on the scanner, you can hear them during commercials, and they are not professional at all.
Well, you know what, too, though, is those guys have been together probably longer than I've been alive.
Yeah.
Like, they've been working that beat for a long time.
Yeah.
And it's just, they are natural.
Yeah, and so that's one of the things with the iRacing series is they've got a couple guys that call these races that sound like MRN radio, and I think that adds to it a lot too. I've still never figured out the guy's name who's the main announcer for the Coca-Cola series, but he's really, really good. So anyway,
just saw it too, and I can't remember it. Dang it!
But check it out this weekend if you don't have anything going on Sunday. I will say that I felt like a really old guy last night because I was trying to figure out Twitch to where I could find the Coca-Cola iRacing stream and ended up having to switch to YouTube and watch it live on there. So
good old YouTube. There you go.
I couldn't figure Twitch out. I just couldn't.
Eric, we're aging out, man.
I'm telling you. It's ridiculous. So
it's not going to end pretty for us.
But so there's still racing to be had. The Cup drivers are going to be running. They're probably going to look pretty silly on the iRacing. But it'll be worth watching for sure. I think, we probably won't break down the broadcast next week, but, we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
I'll be tuning in for sure. I'll at least watch the replay if I don't get to watch it live.
I will give it my best effort to tune in.
Depending
on where I'm at in the world.
I hope we got Mike Joy calling this race. I'll tell you, Mike Joy and Jeff Gordon would be great.
Let's do it.
So
go all out, boys.
The Coca-Cola series last night, they even had like onboard cameras pointing back at the drivers. So like they had a camera set up in their, office where they're racing this race with the camera pointing back at them. It was interesting. It's really interesting.
Yeah, I saw some of the pictures of Dale Earnhardt Jr. set up too. I thought that was pretty cool.
Junior's got a nice setup.
Yeah, he's in a dungeon, man.
Yeah.
Black curtains on the walls, screens all over.
There are some there's some cool ones that have like hydraulics built into them that it actually like banks you into the turns and stuff. There's some pretty fancy stuff.
Wonder how Kay would like that in your guys' abode.
Yeah, especially in the apartment.
Yeah. Yep.
As it is, we had to bring our second desk, so we have the full studio set up now, James, in the apartment because in case she ends up working from home, we had to have a setup for her. So
right.
Because of course I'm not giving up my space. So.
No, you guys.
So yeah, this like half of the apartment is just our office right now / podcast studio. When I send everybody to bed and tell them be quiet so I can record the podcast.
We're our professionals.
Exactly. So speaking of Dale Jr., we got some news today, some good news today, right? It was today? I don't know. It's time moving
this morning. Slow. I saw it this morning.
Yeah. Dale Jr., Amy Earnhardt expecting a second child, which is pretty awesome.
That was a cool announcement. Dale was super confused, which is great.
I didn't see it, so I'll have to go back and look at it. I just saw that.
When you find out that news, though, it's a confusing and frustrating time as a dad.
You know, when you find out the news that you're having 2, try that one on for size.
Yeah. You're a braver soul than me, man.
I tell you.
You came out the other side. You're fine.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I'm with them for 3 weeks right now, all day, all night. We'll see if I make it.
I was listening to some of my favorite podcasts, and they were talking about, there's going to be this baby boom, right?
Yeah.
In 9 months after all the quarantine, right? And then the boy, the other guy on the podcast goes, yeah, and there's going to be an awful high rate of divorce too afterwards.
Yeah.
Well, today was our first day. All 3 of us hunkered down with the dog too, mind you. And he just sleeps next to me all day when I work, and I work from home from time to time, so he's used to it. But yeah, it was a show at our house today. We got through it.
Yeah,
but it was
I would like my wife to not have to go into work. I would like her to not have to deal with that. But at the same time, I'm kind of worried about what will happen when all of us are trapped in this house. Because again, we're not in a house; we're in an apartment. We have basically one room.
I've seen
our bedrooms. Yeah,
it's not much, and you've got.
I mean, it's a decent sized apartment, but for 4 people and a dog, it's pretty small.
Now's the time to start firing up the video camera.
Right? I know. I've thought about that a little bit. I might start doing some like Instagram videos or something.
Yeah, because your boys they're funny kids, and they're probably on their A game right now.
Yeah, maybe I'll get on TikTok.
Yeah. Oh God, I don't even know how that even functions.
I'm on TikTok. I don't do it. I'm just a lurker on TikTok, but there's some funny stuff on there.
I was going to ask you, how are your boys handling everything? You guys are always so busy. You guys are never hunkered down in the house.
Yeah.
They've got to be just.
I don't think they realize the gravity of it yet. They're 7. They don't care.
Right.
They're going to start feeling trapped, I'm sure, pretty soon. We got a nice courtyard they can play in, which is nice. It's nice and safe because it's all enclosed. So they can get outside a little bit and stuff. But yeah, I mean, everything's on hold. So like hockey season had just finished. Thank goodness hockey season. We were done with games. We just had our season ending banquet that got canceled.
The best part.
Yeah. So
sorry, I remember youth sporting banquets.
Well, actually, we were excited about it because we really like our team and liked our coaches. So there was a league-wide banquet, and I didn't care about that. But then we were going to do like a little get-together with just our team. And I was pretty excited about that, and that got canceled too because obviously you can't have more than 10 people together basically right now.
Jesus, yeah.
So that was a little bit of a bummer. But otherwise, right now would be the time when we didn't have anything going on anyway. Baseball will be starting up pretty soon. Actually, I think like next week. Well, like next week was.
It would have been.
Yeah, exactly. Next week I think was when their practices were supposed to start. So I'm not disappointed about losing baseball though. If we don't have a whole baseball season, I'll be happy.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
I hate baseball.
See, for us, we're in that sweet spot right now where our daughter doesn't even know what school is just yet. It's 3,
Yep.
so we're still trying. Our problem is we've been trying to get into schools and we can't go visit anybody right now because we're stuck. So.
See, my biggest issue with the boys right now is they're just like, they don't want to do anything. They just want to goof off all day. And like, again, I work for a newspaper. We're busier now than normal. And so I'm sitting here all day trying to get my work done. And I don't have time to sit there and make sure that they're actually like doing homework and stuff like that. So they've been getting a lot of education in Zelda on the Nintendo Switch. They've become a big fan of Zelda. A lot of Pokemon on TV.
That's good.
Yeah. So
we are of the families that were thankful that Frozen 2 was delivered to Disney Plus.
Yeah.
We use that card today. We usually don't let Ellie have too much screen time, but for like, once a day, if it's an hour or so, and Frozen 2 is like in that sweet spot.
Right.
So hour and a half.
The boys get screen time, but there's usually so much else going on that we don't. There's just
you
not
don't have
enough time for it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to start cracking the whip on it, but it's gonna be punishment for me, not them.
Yeah, this is so strange, man. This whole thing.
It is. It's really crazy.
Yeah, I am. For me, I personally, I know we're kind of going off on personal tangents.
No, it's okay. What else have we got to talk about?
What the hell else are we gonna do? Yeah. So I've been training for my second marathon.
Yeah.
And I am anticipating that it's gonna get canceled. It's at the end of May, so I've already mourned. I've already mourned the loss of it, but they're still on. They said today they're still on. So I am.
You might be all right end of May. Maybe.
I don't know. I'm hopeful.
If this whole thing about the potential that it could go away, or at least subside for a bit once it gets warmer, you might be all right.
I'm logging. If NASCAR comes back on May 3rd, I am hopeful that my race won't get canceled.
Right.
But I am still logging miles like it's nobody's business, and I am just like, if they cancel this thing, I am going to be so upset. Might be the most upset I've ever been in my entire life. But I understand it as well. So, yeah, my routine really hasn't changed much. Run, work, sleep. usually how my day goes.
NASCAR Heat is going to run a $10,000 All-Star event on March 18th.
Do I get my Xbox?
This is, let's see. This is just coming across Twitter, so let me... qualifications in order to set the grid begin today, Wednesday, for both PlayStation 4 and Xbox One players. Will be open until Friday. Race is scheduled for 2 p.m. Saturday, March 21st. So why does it say 18th? Oh, qualify on the 18th. So that's today. Okay, I got it.
I got some words for Microsoft and Sony. It's 2020, guys. The box you're using shouldn't matter anymore. Come on, figure it out.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
We don't need two separate leagues.
Ridiculous that we have that.
You should be able to cross console in 2020.
Yeah. You don't get me started on this tangent on video games because so listen, I bought a Nintendo Switch.
I retired from video games a long time ago, Eric. I retired from video games.
I bought a Nintendo Switch last year, James. And I got they had take the little stupid cartridges, or you can do digital. And I'm like, I'm going to do all digital and just buy digital games. And I have them all with me all the time. I just have to carry the Switch real easy. So for Christmas, I get my boys Nintendo Switches, right? So they each have them. And I'm like, I've already got a bunch of games. They can just share those games with me. Now, I know there's going to be some restrictions because they don't want you pirating games. But I assumed that at least maybe if we're all on the same network, it'll be okay. Or better yet, if I'm playing the game, they can't play the game, and I'd read that they'll phone home on the secondary switches to where you can't, it'll make sure that the primary is not playing the game before the secondary is allowed to play it. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. I get it. Then if I play a game, they can't play that same game. That makes sense because if we had the cartridges, they also couldn't play that same game. No, the way it works is if I'm playing a digital game that I've purchased, they can't play any digital game on that account.
Oh my God.
So and I discovered this after spending a bunch of money on games and getting them all excited about the fact they were going to get to play games. They turn the game on, I turn a different game on, and it just shuts theirs off. It's like, are you freaking kidding me? And then so I go on Reddit and say, is this how it's supposed to work? And everybody's like, you're an idiot. You should have done some research beforehand. It's like, screw you people. Like, first of all, I tried to research it. But so now I have to buy game cartridges that we're going to lose, especially them.
Oh, yeah, those 7-year-olds, yeah.
$50 freaking SD card, basically, is what it is. So, yeah, you got me going.
Yeah. Here we are in the middle of a pandemic. And
yeah, first world problems.
Eric can't play his games.
Yeah, first world problems. It's not so much me. It's them. It's frustrating because, like, I figured... one of them could play one digital game and the other one could play a different digital game, but they can't do that.
It's their fault. Them.
It's Nintendo.
Yes.
So when people do piracy protection, the only people it ever punishes are the people that are playing legit.
Yeah, that's true.
It never punishes the people that are pirating because they still find a way to do it.
Pirates are always going to pirate. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
And Apple learned way back that if you just charge a reasonable amount and make it easier to pay than it is to cheat, then people will buy your crap. And then they got iTunes and everything. All the music is through Apple. But the rest of these companies just can't figure it out. Just make it easy for me.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know what the hell were we talking about? We do still have a news item, James.
This is the NASCAR content you come for right here.
Right. We do have a news item, and I can tell that I was in the middle of something as I was putting these notes together because I forgot to put the link in to the show notes. So I will do that right now. We got an announcement today that NASCAR is partnering with a developer to repurpose surplus land at its 13 properties. So one of the things everybody immediately goes is, NASCAR is going to sell their tracks. Well, NASCAR says this has nothing to do with potentially selling tracks. It's just to repurpose some of the land around these tracks that's basically empty land with nothing, being done on it. So an example that's listed in this article from Sports Business Daily is the Hollywood Casino at Kansas Speedway, something like that. So that deal, there's a 50-50 revenue split between NASCAR and Penn National Gaming, which runs the casino. So
lots of money in real estate.
Yeah.
If people didn't realize that. There's a lot of money in real estate.
I mean, you got a track like Michigan that's out in the middle of nowhere. If you can put a casino there or put something there that brings people all year round there instead of just
a Firekeepers casino, perhaps?
I know, I was thinking that. Exactly that. So, I mean, and that's the other thing too. You got these casinos then too that want to get into gambling with these tracks now that it's legalized in many places.
Sports gambling, yep.
So what better thing to do than build a casino at all these tracks? I think it's great.
Yeah, do what you got to do, man.
Yeah.
It's dog eat dog world out there.
Well, and especially if you're going to take race weekends away, they got to find a way to make some money on those properties. So make some money with them.
Yeah.
As long as it doesn't affect my race, I don't care.
When you think about Michigan, it's good for 3 venues a year.
Yeah.
2 NASCAR races or 2 NASCAR weekends, I should say, and 1 giant music festival.
Yep.
Well, now that they've figured out, oh man, these music festivals, all these other tracks are doing it,
right.
And now they're thinking, well, okay, so now we're being paid 3 weekends out of the year. How can we get paid, 50 weekends out of the year?
Right.
It's basically what they're trying to do. So something, yeah.
Yeah, I don't have any issue with it.
Yeah, because you gotta imagine, isn't that crazy to think? That just crossed my mind. These tracks are money pits for how 99.9% of the entire year.
Yeah,
and then they rake in a ton of cash.
Yeah, and I mean you've got places like Charlotte that do. I mean they've got little races
Charlotte's
they do, but even that though, I mean they're not filling those seats for anything. You know, they're getting a few people in the crowd, but a lot of tracks like Charlotte and whatnot will do big things throughout the season. But yeah, like Michigan, until a few years ago, Michigan ran 3 races a year. They ran the Cup race, the 2 Cup races, and an IndyCar race, and that was it. That track sat vacant otherwise. Then they started doing the racing schools. Then they started faster horses, and now there's other different things they do. The high school sports, Michigan high school sports uses it for their cross country meet.
Yep.
They did a hockey thing this winter, so they had hockey rinks set up at the track, and they do a Christmas lights thing in the wintertime. And so there's other stuff that's being done here to generate revenue throughout the season. But yeah, it's a big loss through 50 weeks out of the year. So,
yeah, I know. Yep, that's something. Yeah, I'm all for it, man. Do what you got to do.
Yep, and you got tracks, like Charlotte or like Daytona that are in more of a metro area that there's actually stuff going on. But you go to Michigan, it's in the middle of nowhere.
Yep, absolutely.
So, but yeah, good for them.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, don't touch my track, don't change my track, don't sell the track, but otherwise go for it. Do what you got to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Heck, if there's more stuff for me to do when I go there, I'm not going to complain.
Eric, I don't see you as a gambler.
I don't gamble. I've never gambled.
Not one time?
Well, okay. So I did not really. I did like a casino night thing at an event where it wasn't for real money.
Gotcha. You haven't lived until you've gone to the local casino and taken your hard-earned money and basically just put it on the doorstep and walked away.
Well, see, that's the thing is like when I did this casino night thing, they gave us chips, and I don't remember how much it was, but I went and played roulette, and I basically got to a point where I was like, okay, I just want to be done. I'm just going to get rid of my chips. So I was making ridiculous bets trying to get rid of them, and I was winning.
Oh,
and it's like, oh my God, I could see how, because just one wrong move and it's just done.
Yeah.
And like I could see that I should not gamble because. So James, I would spend $10, maybe not that much, but $5 at the stupid crane game.
Oh
at,
yeah.
A store to try and win a stupid stuffed animal I don't want. So if I could win money,
real money,
yeah.
I wonder what people who love sports gambling are doing right now. They've got to have that itch bad.
I'll tell you what, man, it's crazy to not have like all of entertainment is shut down.
Yeah, you want to see something funny, go to the ESPN app. If you have the ESPN app on your phone and go to scores, there is the Russian Premier League.
Really?
That's it.
I don't know if I still have the ESPN app because ESPN is so
I've never seen it like that. I like to check scores from time to time, and I use the ESPN app for that because they make it super easy. But yeah, it's Russian Premier League, and that is it.
Yeah, I used to love their Score Center app. But
I remember, man, ESPN must be having a fun time right now trying to figure out how to fill their screens.
Oh, see, I don't have. I must not have soccer even checked. So when I go to scores,
free for all.
I get. It just says coronavirus cancellations.
Oh my God! There you go. Yeah. See, that's a fun little thing.
Yeah. See, I don't have it selected, so if I click more, I can see. Yeah, I click on scores for soccer, postpone. NHL postponed. Oh yeah. Interesting. That's crazy. It's just nuts.
That's a reality check.
Well, when I heard that WWE was still going, I'm like, holy cow, I didn't even think that anything still was running right now.
WWE gave us one of the great moments in sports history the other night when Stone Cold Steve Austin came back and yelled to the crowd, "Give me a hell yeah." And then it was dead silent. And then one guy and they've made it into a bit, and it was freaking hilarious.
Nice.
Yeah.
I do know that our local wrestling group, UCW here in Bay City, had a show on Saturday night, and they went on with it from what I understand. They were saying that night they were doing it. So I was not going to that.
I know people need money. I know.
Yeah.
I understand.
I will admit we went out to eat Saturday night, Friday night.
Yeah, we did too. We went Saturday.
And I was expecting when I drove by the restaurant, it looked like it was pretty open. I'm like, okay, so they've separated tables and stuff. They're keeping people away from each other. I was shocked at how little was being done to be cautious about it. They had tables right on top of each other. They're, bringing out food, putting out silverware with their bare hands and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, I think I'm done with this whole eating out thing. Yeah, for a while. We ordered out from the Turkey Roost the other night because we want to support the local business. So
yeah.
We'll do some takeout here and there just to support those guys because I know, especially in smaller towns here in Bay City, it's not much of an issue. But I work in Bad Axe, and a lot of their takeout, the places that are offering takeout, people aren't even going. And so they're panicked, we need to sell some food or we're going to be out of jobs. And so
yeah, I know.
So I'm trying to do my part to support them as well, and plus it means I don't have to cook.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it's spooky. I know we haven't done anything locally yet either, but it's I know it's tough. I'm trying to. I don't know what to do.
Yeah,
everybody's scared.
Yep.
So
that's the thing. And well, good. I'm glad. The more people that are scared, the better. The more chance they're going to stay home and heed the warnings and not spread this crap, and it'll go away sooner. So I hope everybody's
and we
scared.
can get back to racing.
Exactly.
I mean, last thing on most people's minds, but we like it.
It's not the last thing on my mind. I'm missing it, man. It's rough. This is gonna be rough doing this podcast every week without having racing to talk about. But
yeah,
we'll do it. We'll come up with stuff to talk about. My plan for next week is just to come here with no show notes and just wing it. But
yeah,
we'll see.
We can ramble for a while. It'd be like the off season.
Right. I mean, maybe we'll get some news. Obviously, there's still drivers that need to sign contracts and stuff. So who knows what'll happen with that.
Yeah.
Poor Jimmy Johnson, man. Just wants a farewell season. And maybe he'll stay another year because of it.
Maybe the chaos is a good thing.
Yeah, maybe.
Could be good for him. He can thrive into the chaos.
Right.
I think
Go ahead.
This whole thing. I was just gonna say, this whole thing resets everything we think we know about this whole season, though.
Yeah.
We were seeing trends, and now the trends just throw them out the window. I think right now.
Yeah. This is the off season.
Yeah, we're in another off season.
Yep.
It's gonna be a whole. These teams. You don't think these teams are working on stuff?
Oh yeah.
You're crazy. Yeah.
Exactly.
There's stuff going on.
Yeah, we don't have any idea what we're gonna get when we come back. It's gonna be different for sure.
Yep, absolutely.
Be interesting to see how this affects the next gen car. Right now, NASCAR says that they're still planning on doing the next gen car next year, but the longer they go without testing, the more that's going to push back. So
yeah, they said they're working on it still. It's something that they're still continuing. I did see that.
Well, the good thing is that NASCAR's never rushed into anything without enough thought before, and so you know that they're going to be fully prepared to bring this car to market and make sure that it performs well before it hits the track. So just ask Kyle Busch back at Bristol when he ran the car tomorrow for his first win.
Yep.
So yep. We got to get our shots in there, don't we?
Yeah, every once in a while. We got to keep things keep things normal.
Exactly.
Good.
You got any shout outs, James?
No, I think just hang in there, everybody. That's my shout out. just hang in there. We'll get through this.
Yeah, I'm trying to look here to see if there's anything that pops up to me, but I don't really have anything either. Support your local businesses, that whatever you can right now. Obviously, it's tough for everybody. Give people the support. Be nice to people, and we'll all get through this, I guess. Hopefully.
That's it. That's the shout out, I think, right now.
Yep. And if you need something to do, Frozen 2 is on Disney Plus. So there you go.
That's right. Yeah, if you got toddlers, there you go.
There you go. What do you mean if you got toddlers? Do you need toddlers to watch Frozen, James?
Hey, I like Frozen.
Maybe some people just want to watch Frozen.
I'm not afraid to admit it. I enjoy it.
Right?
Yeah. Not that I wouldn't watch it without my daughter.
Right.
Yeah.
James, where can they find you on social media if they want to chat with you during the week?
Oh, at James Cush on the Twitter.
You can find me at TSuperspeedway on Twitter. You can find the podcast on Facebook at facebook.com/thesuperspeedway. You can find us on our website at thesuperspeedway.com. You can find the podcast there, show notes, links to articles we've discussed, past race coverage, all kinds of stuff. So check that out. Again, if you're looking for something to do during the this second off season, the coronavirus outbreak, check out some of our old podcasts. A lot of them are still available. We've got interviews with the Orange Cone, Barron Speedway, Aaron Bearden from Kicking the Tires, and now what the heck is this thing called now, James? Dang it, I should have been prepared for this. The Motorsports.
Oh, shoot, I'm subscribed to the newsletter.
Motorsports Beat, I believe is what it is.
Yeah, Motorsports Beat, yep.
Yep, so lots of that stuff, so check that out. Interviews with drivers during a few of the races this season, so plenty of stuff to check out there. So that's at thesuperspeedway.com. You can find the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and SoundCloud. Wherever you found us today, we hope you subscribe. Continue to listen. Like I said, we plan to be here through this this outbreak and back each week to have some fun, I guess. That's about all we can really do. Try and keep some normalcy. If you want to become a part of the show, you can become a patron at patreon.com/thesuperspeedway. Anything else, James? Did I miss anything?
Nope, I think we're good. We rambled and scrambled. We got it in.
Yeah, we'll keep up with the news if there's any news to talk about. But like I said, we'll be back next week to goof off and have some fun and try and give you something to listen to and during the week. No promises that there'll be a lot of NASCAR discussion, but we'll find something to talk about. We always do. Yep. James and I do this thing where we hardly talk during the week other than a little bit through text message. So we can talk for like 3 hours if we wanted to on a Wednesday night. So as a matter of fact, a lot of times we do for an hour after the show. So
I often say the pre and post race pods are the pod before the pod is usually pretty good.
Well, the pre-race or the pre-pod is always recorded. The post is never recorded. So
yeah, that we don't like to let the post pod get too loose.
My thing is I just don't want to accidentally delete the whole podcast. So as soon as I can save it, I do.
The pre-pod we usually say our pleasantries and then some stuff. The post-pods where I'm glad it's not recorded.
Yeah, there's been some things on there that if it would have gotten out, we would have been in some trouble. Either at home, at our jobs, or with NASCAR.
No, that's not a gimmick, people. It's not. That's not just. We're not just trying to be funny about that.
No,
that is legit.
100% true.
With somebody. Yes.
All right, James. Well, we'll be back next week to chat some more. We're not going to go racing, but I guess, I don't know. Let's not go racing.
Let's go quarantine.
Right. Well, tune into Fox Sports 1 this weekend and watch the iRacing series and check that out. And in that case, you can go racing.